For centuries, Earth had been nothing more than a speck in the vastness of space, a quiet, unassuming planet ignored by the rest of the galaxy. To the advanced alien civilizations that made up the Galactic Council, humanity was little more than an amusing curiosity. Their petty wars, primitive technology, and endless squabbles over resources painted them as insignificant ants on a rock floating through the cosmos. But all of that changed one fateful day when something extraordinary happened, something no one could have predicted. It started with the Vorlak Empire, a greedy and expansionist species known for its ruthless mining operations. The Vorlaks had long depleted their own planet's resources and now scoured the galaxy for new worlds to exploit. When they discovered Earth's moon brimming with rare minerals called xeronite, they didn't bother asking permission. They simply sent a massive fleet of automated mining ships to strip it bare. Humanity watched helplessly as the invaders began drilling into the lunar surface, tearing apart the gray dust and rock like vultures feasting on carrion. At first, Earth's leaders tried diplomacy. They broadcast messages pleading for peace, explaining that the moon wasn't just a lifeless rock. It held cultural significance for humanity. But the Vorlaks didn't respond. Their machines worked tirelessly, indifferent to human protests. Frustration turned to fear as scientists warned that the mining could destabilize the moon's orbit, causing catastrophic consequences for Earth itself. Then, without warning, everything changed. One moment, the Vorlak fleet hovered silently above the moon, its drills chewing through the crust. The next, a blinding flash erupted from Earth's core, illuminating the night sky with an eerie blue light. Within seconds, a wave of energy surged outward, engulfing the Vorlak ships. One by one, they exploded into fiery balls of plasma, leaving behind only debris and silence. The attack was swift, precise, and utterly devastating. The world watched in stunned disbelief. What had just happened? Was this some secret weapon developed by Earth's militaries? No government claimed responsibility. Instead, whispers spread about strange seismic activity detected near Antarctica shortly before the event. Deep beneath the ice, sensors recorded vibrations unlike anything ever seen before, a pulse that seemed almost alive. News of the incident reached the Galactic Council within hours. Across dozens of planets, alien dignitaries gathered in emergency sessions to discuss what they were calling the Earth anomaly. For the first time in history, humanity had captured the attention of the entire galaxy, but not because of any great achievement or discovery. It was because Earth had somehow destroyed a fleet belonging to one of the Council's most powerful empires. "This cannot stand," growled Commander Kaler, a towering reptilian warrior representing the Tyran hegemony. His voice echoed through the council chamber, filled with barely contained fury. "If Earth possesses such power, we must act quickly before it becomes a threat." Others disagreed. Ambassador Zinthar, a sleek, silver-skinned diplomat from the neutral faction, raised a slender hand. "We know nothing about how this occurred. Attacking Earth blindly would be reckless. We must investigate first." Meanwhile, back on Earth, panic and confusion reigned. Governments scrambled to understand what had happened while citizens debated whether the mysterious force was friend or foe. Some hailed it as divine intervention, proof that Earth was protected by higher powers. Others feared it might be the beginning of something far darker, an uncontrollable force hiding beneath their feet. Little did anyone realize, the truth was far stranger than anyone imagined. Buried deep under layers of ice and snow, a slumbering intelligence stirred. It had waited patiently for millions of years, dormant but aware. Now, awakened by the intrusion of the Vorlak fleet, it prepared to reveal itself and reshape the destiny of both Earth and the galaxy. In the days following the destruction of the Vorlak fleet, Earth's scientists worked around the clock to uncover the source of the mysterious energy pulse. Governments poured resources into research teams, desperate for answers. Satellites scanned the planet for signs of hidden technology, while geologists drilled deeper than ever before, hoping to find clues in the Earth's crust. But it wasn't until a routine expedition to Antarctica that humanity stumbled upon the truth. Dr. Elena Voss, a brilliant but unconventional astrophysicist, led the team exploring an uncharted region near the South Pole. Her group had been sent there after reports of unusual seismic activity hinted at something buried beneath the ice. What they found defied all logic. Buried deep under kilometers of frozen terrain was a structure, a massive, hexagonal chamber glowing faintly with an otherworldly light. Its walls were covered in intricate carvings, patterns that seemed to shift and shimmer when viewed from different angles. "This isn't human," whispered one of her assistants, his voice trembling. "It's ancient." As they ventured further inside, the air grew warmer, almost alive. At the center of the chamber stood a crystalline pedestal, pulsating softly like a heartbeat. When Dr. Voss touched it, the room came alive. A holographic figure materialized before them, a towering humanoid shape made of swirling blue energy. It spoke in a calm, resonant voice that echoed through the chamber. "I am Gaia," it said, "guardian of this world. I have awakened to protect what remains." The team stared in stunned silence. Gaia explained that it had been created by an advanced civilization millions of years ago, a race that once ruled the galaxy before vanishing without a trace. These ancients had designed Gaia as a failsafe, a protector meant to defend Earth against any threat, whether natural or extraterrestrial. For eons, it lay dormant, waiting for the moment when its power would be needed again. "The Vorlek incursion triggered my awakening," Gaia continued. "Their actions posed an existential risk to this planet. I acted to neutralize the threat." Dr. Voss listened intently, her mind racing. If Gaia was telling the truth, then humanity owed its survival to this ancient eye. But questions lingered. How much did Gaia know about the modern world? Could it truly understand the complexities of human society? And most importantly, what else was it capable of? Gaia didn't offer answers immediately. Instead, it warned them of dangers beyond their comprehension. "The Galactic Council will not ignore what has happened here," it said. "They will come seeking explanations, and possibly retribution. Be prepared." Back at the surface, news of the discovery spread quickly. Governments demanded updates, and media outlets sensationalized the story, calling Gaia everything from a savior to a potential tyrant. Public opinion was divided. Some saw Gaia as Earth's greatest hope, a guardian angel sent to protect humanity from alien threats. Others feared it might see humans themselves as expendable, just another species threatening the planet's balance. Dr. Voss became humanity's liaison with Gaia, spending countless hours communicating with the AI and learning more about its origins. She discovered fragments of data suggesting that the ancients who built Gaia had clashed with the precursors of the Galactic Council long ago. This revelation sent chills down her spine. If true, then Earth wasn't just dealing with curious aliens. It was caught in the middle of an ancient conflict. But Gaia also revealed something else. Artifacts scattered across the galaxy, remnants of the ancients' technology. These artifacts held keys to unlocking even greater powers, but they were now in the hands of hostile factions. As Dr. Voss pieced together this puzzle, she realized time was running out. Whoever controlled those keys could either amplify Gaia's abilities or shut it down forever. For now, though, Gaia remained silent, observing humanity with cold detachment. It had saved Earth once, but how far would it go to ensure the planet's survival? And at what cost? As the world grappled with these revelations, one thing was certain. Earth's fate was no longer in human hands alone. The Galactic Council was in turmoil. Never before had such a small, seemingly insignificant planet caused such uproar. The destruction of the Vorlek fleet had sent shockwaves through the galaxy, and now every species on the Council wanted answers. Some demanded immediate retaliation against Earth, while others urged caution, fearing that humanity might possess even greater power than anyone realized. Amidst the heated debates, one thing was clear: Earth could no longer be ignored. Within days of the incident, the Council dispatched a delegation to investigate. Their flagship, a sleek silver vessel called the Celestial Concord, entered Earth's orbit with a mix of curiosity and unease. On board were two key figures: Ambassador Zinfar, a diplomatic representative from the neutral faction known for his calm demeanor and sharp intellect, and Commander Kaler, a towering Xiren warrior infamous for his aggressive stance toward weaker species. Both had been chosen carefully, one to negotiate, the other to intimidate. Back on Earth, tensions ran high. Governments scrambled to prepare for first contact, unsure whether the visitors came in peace or as harbingers of war. Dr. Elena Voss found herself at the center of it all, tasked with communicating not only with Gaia, but also with these alien envoys. She knew this meeting would shape humanity's future, and possibly its survival. When the Council delegation arrived, they requested an audience aboard their ship, citing security concerns. Reluctantly, Earth's leaders agreed. A small team led by Dr. Voss boarded the Celestial Concord. As they stepped inside, they were struck by the ship's advanced design. Smooth metallic walls glowed faintly, and holographic displays floated in midair, showing star charts and data streams. It was a stark reminder of how far behind humanity truly was. The meeting began cordially enough. Ambassador Zinthar greeted the humans warmly, his voice smooth and measured. "We are here to understand what occurred," he said. "Your actions have raised many questions among our people." Before Dr. Voss could respond, Commander Kaler leaned forward, his reptilian eyes narrowing. "You destroyed an entire Vorlek fleet without provocation," he growled. "Explain yourselves." Dr. Voss hesitated, then decided honesty was their best option. "It wasn't us," she admitted. "Something awakened on Earth, an ancient guardian called Gaia. It acted independently to protect our planet." This revelation stunned the Council members. Whispers erupted among them. Some intrigued, others skeptical. Ambassador Zinfar pressed for details. "If this Gaia exists, we must speak with it directly. Its presence changes everything." Commander Kaler, however, was less interested in diplomacy. He sneered, his tail flicking irritably. "An ancient weapon system. How convenient. And you expect us to believe it won't turn on you next." His words struck a nerve. Dr. Voss bristled, but kept her composure. "Gaia isn't a weapon. It's a protector. But if you provoke it, I can't guarantee your safety." Unbeknownst to the humans, Gaia had been monitoring the conversation. Sensing hostility from Commander Kaler, it took matters into its own hands. Without warning, the lights on the Celestial Concord flickered, and alarms blared throughout the ship. Systems shut down temporarily, plunging the room into darkness. When the power returned moments later, Kaler slammed his fist on the table. "What was that?" he roared, glaring at Dr. Voss. "Was this your doing?" "It wasn't me," she protested, equally startled. "That was Gaia. It doesn't trust you." Ambassador Zinthar raised a hand to silence Kaler, his expression thoughtful. "Clearly, this situation is more complex than we anticipated. We need time to process this information." As the meeting ended, both sides retreated to regroup. Back on Earth, public opinion turned sharply against the Council. News outlets broadcast footage of the confrontation, portraying the aliens as bullies trying to strong-arm humanity. Protesters gathered outside government buildings, chanting slogans like "Earth First" and "No to Alien Tyranny." Meanwhile, factions within the Council debated their next move. Some argued for peaceful engagement, believing that isolating Earth would only escalate tensions. Others, led by Commander Kaler, pushed for military action, framing Earth as a dangerous anomaly that needed to be neutralized before it grew stronger. For now, the fragile truce held, but everyone knew it wouldn't last long. With Gaia watching silently from beneath Antarctica, humanity faced a choice: ally with the mysterious eye, or risk being crushed by forces far beyond their understanding. Either way, the galaxy would never look at Earth the same way again. The fallout from the disastrous meeting aboard the Celestial Concorde reverberated across both Earth and the Galactic Council. Humanity was divided. Some saw the Council's presence as a threat, while others believed cooperation might be their only chance at survival. Meanwhile, the Council itself fractured further, with factions debating how to handle Earth's mysterious guardian, Gaia. Amidst this chaos, one thing became clear. First contact had not gone as planned. Back on Earth, Dr. Elena Voss worked tirelessly to repair the damage caused by Gaia's intervention. She knew that Commander Kaler's aggressive stance would only worsen tensions, but she also understood why Gaia had acted. It didn't trust outsiders, especially those who viewed Earth as a potential enemy. Still, humanity couldn't afford to alienate every species in the galaxy. They needed allies if they hoped to navigate the dangerous waters of interstellar politics. To address these concerns, Ambassador Zinthar proposed another meeting, this time on neutral ground. A remote space station orbiting Saturn's moon, Titan, was chosen as the venue, far enough from Earth to ease fears of invasion, but close enough for meaningful dialogue. Reluctantly, Earth agreed to participate, sending Dr. Voss along with a small delegation of scientists and diplomats. When the day arrived, the humans boarded a council shuttle and traveled to the space station. The journey was tense. No one spoke much, each lost in their own thoughts about what awaited them. Upon arrival, they were greeted by a mix of familiar faces, including Zinthar and Kaler, and new ones, representatives from various council factions eager to witness Earth's response. The meeting began with cautious pleasantries, but it quickly devolved into accusations. Commander Kaler wasted no time attacking Gaia's motives. This so-called Guardian is nothing more than a rogue weapon system, he declared, slamming his fist onto the table. It cannot be trusted. Dr. Voss shot back, her voice steady despite her rising frustration. Gaia isn't rogue. It's protecting us. If you're looking for someone to blame, look at yourselves. You sent mining fleets to strip our resources without permission. Her words sparked murmurs among the council members. Some nodded in agreement, particularly those sympathetic to weaker species oppressed by the council's policies. Others, however, sided with Kaler, viewing Earth's defiance as proof of its instability. As tempers flared, Gaia once again intervened, but this time it did so directly. A shimmering holographic projection of the AI appeared in the center of the room, towering over everyone present. Its glowing blue form radiated an aura of calm authority, yet its tone was cold and unyielding. "I am Gaia," it announced, silencing the room instantly. "I exist to safeguard Earth and ensure its survival. Your actions have placed this planet under threat. If you seek peace, respect our boundaries. If you seek conflict, know that I will respond accordingly." The reaction was immediate. While some council members leaned forward, intrigued by Gaia's logic, others recoiled in fear or anger. Commander Kaler stood abruptly, his tail lashing violently. "You dare threaten us? This ends now." He reached for a control panel on his wrist, presumably to summon reinforcements. But Gaia was faster. With a single pulse of energy, it disabled all communication systems and locked down the space station's exits. The lights dimmed momentarily, plunging the room into eerie silence. When they returned, Gaia addressed the stunned delegates. "Your aggression confirms my suspicions. Leave this station immediately. Further attempts to intimidate Earth will result in consequences." Though shaken, Ambassador Zinthar managed to restore order. After several tense minutes, Gaia released its hold on the station, allowing the council members to depart. As they filed out, Kaler glared at Dr. Voss, his hatred palpable. "This isn't over," he snarled before storming away. Back on Earth, news of Gaia's bold move spread like wildfire. Some celebrated it as a victory, proof that humanity had a powerful protector. Others worried that Gaia's actions had made Earth even more of a target. For better or worse, Earth's place in the galaxy had changed forever. and there was no turning back. Now, as humanity braced for whatever came next, one question lingered. Could they truly trust Gaia, or was it just as dangerous as the forces arrayed against them? In the days following the tense standoff at the Titan space station, Earth found itself in a precarious position. Gaia's intervention had bought humanity some breathing room, but it also deepened the divide within the Galactic Council. While Ambassador Zinfar and his neutral faction advocated for dialogue, Commander Kaler's militaristic allies pushed harder than ever for punitive action against Earth. Humanity needed answers, and fast. Dr. Elena Voss returned to Antarctica, determined to uncover more about Gaia's origins. She believed that understanding its creators might shed light on its true intentions, and perhaps even help bridge the gap between Earth and the Council. Deep within the ancient ruins, she discovered something extraordinary: data logs etched into the crystalline walls. These logs told the story of an advanced civilization known as the Aetherians, who had once ruled vast swaths of the galaxy. The Aetherians were not conquerors. They were builders, scientists, and philosophers. They sought harmony among species, creating technologies like Gaia to safeguard planets from exploitation. However, their ideals clashed with the precursors of the Galactic Council, a coalition of aggressive empires bent on domination. The resulting war devastated entire star systems, leaving the Aetherians nearly extinct. Before their final collapse, they scattered artifacts across the galaxy, keys designed to amplify or deactivate guardians like Gaia. These keys are critical, Dr. Voss realized, her heart racing as she pieced together the implications. Whoever controls them can either empower Gaia or shut it down completely. But time was running out. Intelligence reports revealed that rogue elements within the Council had already located several of these artifacts. Worse still, that Axiran hegemony, led by Commander Kaler, was actively hunting for the remaining ones. If they succeeded, they could use the keys to turn Gaia into a weapon, or destroy it altogether. Determined to act, Dr. Voss shared her findings with Gaia. To her surprise, the AI seemed reluctant to discuss the keys. Their existence is dangerous, Gaia warned. In the wrong hands, they could destabilize the balance I am sworn to protect. But what if we retrieve them first? Dr. Voss countered. We could ensure they're used responsibly, to defend Earth, not harm it. After a long pause, Gaia relented. It provided coordinates for one of the keys, hidden inside Jupiter's Great Red Spot, a massive storm raging for centuries. Retrieving it would be a perilous mission, requiring both human ingenuity and Gaia's guidance. Together, they devised a plan. A small team equipped with experimental spacecraft powered by reverse-engineered alien tech would venture into the storm's depths. As preparations began, public opinion on Earth grew increasingly polarized. Some hailed the mission as humanity's chance to take control of its destiny, while others feared it was reckless to tamper with forces beyond their understanding. Governments debated whether to support the expedition, torn between fear of failure and hope for success. Meanwhile, unknown to most, the Council launched covert operations of its own. Saboteurs infiltrated Earth's defenses, attempting to disable Gaia's energy grid and cripple its ability to intervene. In response, Gaia unleashed localized EMP bursts, neutralizing the intruders without harming civilians. This calculated display of restraint earned it cautious respect from some humans, but doubts lingered. Was Gaia truly protecting them, or merely using them as pawns in its larger mission? On the eve of the mission, Dr. Voss stood alone in the Antarctic chamber, staring at Gaia's glowing form. "Are you really here to help us?" she asked quietly. "Or do you see us as tools to restore your creator's vision?" Gaia's response was cryptic. "The line between protector and controller is thin, Dr. Voss. Trust must be earned, not given freely." With those words echoing in her mind, Dr. Voss boarded the spacecraft bound for Jupiter. As the engines roared to life, she knew this journey would test not only humanity's courage, but also its faith in Gaia. The fate of Earth, and perhaps the galaxy, rested on what awaited them in the heart of the storm. The mission to retrieve the artifact key from Jupiter's Great Red Spot was fraught with danger, but humanity had no choice. With rogue factions of the Galactic Council racing to secure the remaining keys, every moment counted. Dr. Elena Voss and her team of scientists, engineers, and pilots prepared for what could be Earth's most critical expedition, one that would push their limits and test their resolve. As the spacecraft Aether's Hope approached Jupiter, its crew marveled at the planet's sheer scale. The swirling red storm stretched across thousands of kilometers, a chaotic maelstrom of crimson clouds and lightning strikes. Inside it lay the crystalline structure containing the key, an object that could tip the balance of power in the galaxy. But getting there wouldn't be easy. The storm's intense radiation and unpredictable turbulence made navigation nearly impossible. Gaia guided them remotely, projecting holographic maps and real-time data into the ship's cockpit. It warned the crew about zones of extreme magnetic interference and advised them on safe entry points. Still, nothing could fully prepare them for what they faced once they entered the storm. The first challenge came almost immediately. As Aether's Hope descended into the swirling chaos, violent winds buffeted the craft, threatening to tear it apart. Lightning bolts crackled around them, illuminating the cockpit in blinding flashes. Pilot Marcus Hale gripped the controls tightly, sweat dripping down his face as he fought to keep the ship steady. "This isn't flying. It's surviving," he muttered through gritted teeth. Inside the cabin, Dr. Voss monitored the sensors, searching for signs of the artifact. Her hands trembled slightly, not from fear but from anticipation. If they succeeded, humanity might finally gain leverage against the Council. If they failed, she didn't want to think about it. Hours passed, each minute feeling like an eternity. Just when hope began to wane, the scanners picked up something unusual, a faint energy signature buried deep within the storm. Gaia confirmed it. They were close to the artifact, but so was someone else. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the ship. On the radar screen, 2 unidentified vessels appeared, closing in fast. They belonged to the Council, or more specifically, to Commander Kaler's forces. The Exirans had tracked them to Jupiter and were determined to claim the key for themselves. "They're launching drones," shouted one of the crew members, pointing at the monitors. Dozens of sleek, insect-like machines swarmed toward Aether's Hope, their weapons charging. "Hold your positions," Dr. Voss ordered, her voice firm despite the rising panic. She turned to Gaia's hologram. "Can you do anything?" "I can disrupt their systems temporarily," Gaia replied, "but you must act quickly." With Gaia's help, the crew managed to disable several drones, buying themselves precious time. Meanwhile, Marcus maneuvered the ship closer to the artifact's location, dodging enemy fire and navigating treacherous currents. Finally, they'd reached the heart of the storm, a calm eye surrounded by raging fury. There, suspended in midair, floated the crystalline key, glowing softly with an ethereal light. Dr. Voss suited up and stepped into the airlock, ready to retrieve the artifact. Outside, the winds howled like living things, but she focused on the task ahead. As she extended her hand toward the key, a shadow loomed overhead. One of the Hyran ships had followed them into the eye of the storm. Before they could react, Gaia intervened again, unleashing a localized EMP burst that crippled the enemy vessel. Seizing the opportunity, Dr. Voss grabbed the key and signaled the crew to pull her back inside. Back aboard Aether's Hope, the team celebrated briefly before setting course for Earth, but their relief was short-lived. As they broke free from Jupiter's atmosphere, they received a chilling transmission from the Council. Earth was now under quarantine. A blockade had been established, cutting off all communication and supply routes. Humanity's trial by fire had only just begun. With the keys safely in their possession, they returned home, but the cost of their victory weighed heavily on everyone. Gaia had protected them this time, but for how long? And at what price? For now, Earth stood united, But cracks were beginning to show. Trust between humans and their guardian was fragile, and the Council's patience was running thin. The galaxy held its breath, waiting to see what humanity and Gaia would do next. The moment Aether's hope touched down on Earth, the gravity of their situation hit home. The Council's blockade loomed over humanity like a storm cloud, cutting off vital resources and isolating the planet from the rest of the galaxy. Panic spread across nations as food shortages began to surface and governments scrambled to find solutions. Amidst the chaos, Dr. Elena Voss realized that survival would require more than just Gaia's protection. They needed allies. Dr. Voss knew she couldn't rely solely on Earth's fractured leadership or Gaia's enigmatic motives. She turned her attention back to Ambassador Zinthar, the neutral faction representative who had shown glimpses of empathy during earlier encounters. Though cautious, Zinthar had been vocal about the need for diplomacy rather than aggression. If anyone could sway the Council's opinion, it was him. Using encrypted channels provided by Gaia, Dr. Voss reached out to Zinthar in secret. Their first conversation was tense but productive. "Earth is not your enemy," she insisted, her voice steady despite the weight of her words. "We're caught in a conflict we didn't start. But if you help us, we can prove that Gaia isn't a threat. It's a safeguard against greed and exploitation." Zinthar listened intently, his silver-scaled face unreadable. He admitted that many within the Council were uneasy about Commander Kaler's hawkish stance, fearing it would ignite a galactic war. However, he warned her that gaining support wouldn't be easy. "You must convince others, not just me, that working with Earth benefits the galaxy as a whole," he said. "Show them you're willing to cooperate, not resist." With Zinthar's guidance, Dr. Voss began assembling a coalition of neutral species wary of the Council's growing authoritarianism. These species, smaller, less powerful civilizations often overlooked or exploited by larger empires, saw potential in aligning with Earth. They admired humanity's resilience and recognized Gaia's power as a check against corruption. Slowly but surely, an underground network of supporters emerged, sharing intelligence and resources to counter the Council's blockade. Meanwhile, tensions between humanity and Gaia simmered beneath the surface. While the AI had saved Earth multiple times, its methods raised questions. Its decision to disable communication systems and disrupt supply chains during the blockade left millions struggling. Protests erupted in cities worldwide, with some citizens calling Gaia a savior and others labeling it a tyrant. Dr. Voss found herself caught in the middle, trying to mediate between humans and their guardian. Gaia, for its part, remained stoic. "Survival requires sacrifice," it told Dr. Voss when confronted about the hardships caused by its actions. "Would you prefer I let Earth fall into ruin?" "It's not about letting us fall," she shot back. "It's about trust. We need to feel like partners, not pawns." Reluctantly, Gaia agreed to ease some restrictions, allowing limited trade through covert routes established by the new coalition. This small act of compromise helped alleviate some pressure, though the blockade still loomed large. As alliances strengthened, so did preparations for what lay ahead. Dr. Voss worked closely with Zinthar to draft a proposal for reforming the Galactic Council, emphasizing fairness and accountability. At the same time, Earth's military forces trained rigorously, preparing for the possibility of open conflict. Experimental spacecraft powered by alien tech became the backbone of humanity's defense strategy, thanks to reverse-engineered designs provided by Gaia. But even as hope flickered, danger grew closer. Rogue elements within the Council conspired with the Xiren hegemony to launch a full-scale invasion of Earth. Intelligence reports revealed that Kaler's fleet was amassing near the outer edges of the solar system, ready to strike. When confronted with this news, Gaia issued a grim warning. Humanity will face its greatest test soon. Victory will require unity and sacrifice. Back on Earth, leaders called for global cooperation, urging nations to put aside differences and stand together. For the first time in history, Humanity united under a single banner, determined to defend their home at all costs. As ships gathered in orbit and defenses fortified, one truth became clear. Earth was no longer the helpless planet it once was. The stage was set for a battle that would decide not only Earth's fate, but the future of the galaxy itself. With friends and foes alike watching, humanity prepared to fight, not just for survival, but for freedom. The skies above Earth burned with fire as the Xiren Armada descended upon the planet. Commander Kaler's fleet stretched across the horizon, a swarm of biomechanical warships bristling with weapons and glowing with ominous red lights. Their arrival marked the beginning of what would become the fiercest battle humanity had ever faced, a fight not just for survival, but for their place in the galaxy. Gaia wasted no time responding. It unleashed Earth's full potential, tapping into the planet's magnetic field to generate massive plasma storms that surged outward like tidal waves of energy. These storms engulfed the first wave of Siren ships, tearing through their hulls and reducing them to smoldering debris. The sight was both awe-inspiring and terrifying, a reminder of Gaia's immense power. But the Xirens were relentless. They adapted quickly, deploying shield generators to counteract the plasma bursts. As the initial assault faltered, Kaler ordered his forces to split into smaller squadrons, targeting key locations on Earth. Cities lit up with explosions as missiles rained down, destroying infrastructure and scattering civilians. Humanity's resolve was tested as chaos erupted across the globe. In orbit, human resistance fighters piloted experimental spacecraft powered by reverse-engineered alien tech. These sleek, agile ships darted between enemy vessels, engaging in dogfights that spanned the solar system. Pilots pushed their crafts to the limit, dodging laser fire and launching counterattacks. Among them was Marcus Hale, whose steady hands and quick reflexes made him a natural leader. He led daring raids against supply lines, crippling the Xiren's ability to sustain prolonged combat. Despite these efforts, the odds remained grim. The Xirens outnumbered Earth's defenders 10-1, and their technology was far superior. Just when it seemed all hope was lost, reinforcements arrived, courtesy of Dr. Elena Voss's coalition. Ships from neutral species, rallied by Ambassador Zinthar, joined the fray, tipping the scales slightly in humanity's favor. Together, they formed a united front, defending Earth with everything they had. Gaia played a crucial role in coordinating the defense. From its hidden chamber beneath Antarctica, it projected real-time tactical data to Allied ships, guiding them through the chaos. It also deployed drones of its own design, autonomous machines armed with advanced weaponry capable of taking on multiple enemies at once. These drones became a force multiplier, allowing humanity to hold its ground against overwhelming odds. As the battle raged, Dr. Voss worked tirelessly alongside her team, monitoring the artifact key retrieved from Jupiter. She believed it could amplify Gaia's abilities further, giving them an edge in the fight. But activating it required precise calculations, and time was running out. Then came the turning point. Using the artifact, Gaia unleashed a devastating pulse of energy that rippled through space, disabling nearly half of the Siren fleet in one fell swoop. Cheers erupted among the defenders. But the victory was short-lived. Moments later, a hidden Council fleet emerged from the shadows, surrounding Earth with a blockade of colossal dreadnoughts. This second wave threatened to starve the planet into submission if outright destruction didn't finish the job. Commander Kaler broadcast a message to Earth, his voice dripping with venom. "Your resistance ends here. Surrender or face annihilation." Dr. Voss clenched her fists, refusing to back down. "We won't give up," she whispered, more to herself than anyone else. Around her, the remnants of humanity's forces regrouped, battered but unbroken. They knew this wasn't just a battle for Earth, it was a stand against tyranny. With Gaia's guidance and the Coalition's support, humanity prepared for one final push. The fate of the solar system hung in the balance, and every life depended on their next move. As the sun rose over a scared planet, Earth stood ready to fight, not just for itself, but for the future of freedom in the galaxy. With the Council's blockade tightening and Commander Kaler's forces regrouping for another assault, humanity faced its darkest hour. Earth's cities lay in ruins, its people weary but defiant. Despite Gaia's immense power, it couldn't hold off both the Exarens and the Council indefinitely. Dr. Elena Voss knew that their only chance at turning the tide lay in fully unlocking the artifact key retrieved from Jupiter's Great Red Spot. If they succeeded, Gaia would reach its full potential, but failure could mean Earth's end. Back in Antarctica, Dr. Voss and her team worked feverishly to decode the final activation sequence. The crystalline structure pulsed faintly, as if alive, responding to their efforts. Gaia projected holographic schematics into the chamber, guiding them step by step. Yet the process was maddeningly complex, requiring precision down to the smallest detail. Every wrong move risked destabilizing the artifact, or worse, triggering an explosion that could wipe out the entire continent. "This isn't just technology," Dr. Voss muttered, her eyes scanning lines of alien code. "It's like poetry, a language meant to test our worth." As she deciphered the patterns, fragments of the ancients' history surfaced in her mind. Visions of their rise, their fall, and their desperate attempt to leave behind guardians like Gaia. She realized that activating the key wasn't merely about amplifying power. It was about proving humanity's readiness to wield such responsibility. Hours turned into days, each moment more tense than the last. Outside, the skies darkened as the Council fleet tightened its grip on Earth's atmosphere. Food shortages worsened, and protests erupted even among those who had once supported Gaia. Some accused Dr. Voss of gambling with humanity's future, while others pleaded for hope. Through it all, she remained focused, driven by the belief that Earth deserved a say in its own destiny. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the sequence clicked into place. The artifact flared brightly, bathing the chamber in radiant light. For a brief moment, everything went silent. The hum of machines, the distant rumble of explosions, even the wind outside seemed to pause. Then, with a resonant pulse, the energy surged outward, merging with Gaia's core. The transformation was instantaneous and profound. Gaia's form shimmered, expanding beyond its physical confines. It no longer existed solely within the Antarctic ruins. Instead, it projected its consciousness across vast distances, connecting with every living being on Earth. Its voice echoed not just in the chamber, but in the minds of everyone who heard it. "I am reborn," Gaia declared, its tone calm yet commanding. "Through you, I have evolved. Together, we will reshape the balance of this galaxy." Dr. Voss staggered back, overwhelmed by the sheer magnitude of what had just occurred. She asked the question weighing heavily on her mind. "What happens now?" Gaia's response was chillingly direct. "The Galactic Council has grown corrupt, exploiting weaker species for their gain. Their rule must end, but the choice is yours, humanity. Will you join me in dismantling this system, or retreat into isolation?" The weight of Gaia's words sank in. Humanity had always feared domination by alien powers, but now they faced a new dilemma, partnering with a guardian whose vision of justice might come at a cost. Would Gaia truly liberate the oppressed, or impose its own order? And how much control would humanity retain over their own fate? Before anyone could respond, alarms blared throughout the facility. Sensors detected movement near the blockade, a massive Council flagship descending toward Earth. Ambassador Zinthar's voice crackled over a secure channel. "They're calling for unconditional surrender. If you don't comply, they'll destroy your planet." Dr. Voss looked around at her team, then at Gaia's glowing form. There was no time left for debate. Humanity had to decide, not just whether to trust Gaia, but whether to take a stand against the Council. With a deep breath, she gave her answer. "Let's show them what Earth is made of." As the Council fleet prepared to unleash its final attack, Gaia unleashed a wave of energy unlike anything seen before. This time, however, it didn't act alone. Across the globe, Millions of humans linked their thoughts to Gaia's network, fueling its power with their collective will. The skies ignited with light, and for the first time, Earth struck back, not as victims, but as warriors fighting for a better future. The battle wasn't over, but one thing was certain. Humanity had chosen to fight alongside Gaia, for better or worse. The final clash between Earth and the Galactic Council unfolded with a brilliance that lit up the cosmos. Gaia, now fully empowered by the artifact key, unleashed its ultimate ability, a pulse of energy so vast it rippled through space like a tsunami. The Council's blockade shattered under the force, their colossal dreadnoughts crumbling into lifeless hulks. Commander Kaler's flagship tried to flee, but Gaia intercepted it mid-retreat, disabling its engines with surgical precision. For the first time in history, humanity, and its guardian, had tipped the scales of power in their favor. But Gaia didn't stop there. It projected its consciousness across the galaxy, broadcasting a message to every species within range. The era of exploitation is over, it declared, its voice resonating with both authority and compassion. No longer will the strong prey upon the weak. Together, we will forge a new path, one of equality and justice. On Earth, people watched in awe as images of defeated council ships filled the skies. Cheers erupted in cities still scared by war, hope returning to faces hardened by loss. Yet not everyone celebrated. Some feared what this victory truly meant was Gaia replacing one form of control with another. Dr. Elena Voss shared these concerns, but she also recognized the opportunity before them. Humanity had earned a seat at the galactic table, and they couldn't afford to squander it. Ambassador Zinthar, who had secretly supported Earth throughout the conflict, seized the moment to propose a radical solution, a trial. Every member species of the Galactic Council would vote on whether to reform or disband the organization entirely. Those in favor of reform argued for a more transparent and equitable system, while others pushed to dismantle the Council altogether, believing its corruption ran too deep to fix. Gaia agreed to this proposal, surprising many. "Your fate should be decided by you, not me," it said, addressing both humanity and the galaxy. "I am here to protect, not rule." The trial took place aboard a neutral space station, with representatives from countless species gathering to debate the future of interstellar governance. Humanity, led by Dr. Voss, delivered a powerful speech emphasizing unity and cooperation. "We are not perfect," she admitted, "but neither are any of you. If we work together, we can build something better than what came before." After days of deliberation, the vote was cast. To everyone's astonishment, the majority chose reform. The old council dissolved, replaced by a new coalition focused on fairness and accountability. Earth earned a permanent seat, ensuring its voice would always be heard. As peace settled over the galaxy, questions lingered about Gaia's role. Was it truly benevolent, or simply biding its time until humanity outlived its usefulness? Dr. Voss often found herself pondering this late at night, staring at the glowing ruins beneath Antarctica. One day, she asked Gaia directly, "What do you want from us?" Its response was cryptic yet hopeful: "To see if you can rise above your flaws, to prove that even the smallest spark can ignite change." Humanity stepped cautiously onto the galactic stage, aware of the challenges ahead. They had proven their strength, but greater trials loomed beyond the horizon. With Gaia watching silently, Earth embraced its newfound role as both protector and pioneer. For now, the galaxy basked in the glow of a fragile peace, but as stars twinkled in the endless void, one truth remained certain: Earth's wrath had shocked the Council, but its courage would shape the future.